Was Jesse James really in Leadville at one time? A story in the 1882 Leadville Daily Herald seems to bear this out. It reads as follows: Among the passengers on the Denver and Rio Grande yesterday morning was Bob Hilton, a young man who is known throughout the state of Missouri and one who is perfectly familiar with the record of Jesse James. He is from St. Joe, Missouri, and understanding this, the reporter interrogated him on reference to the assassination of the outlaw and as to the sentiment of the people in reference to Governor Crittenden. After some hesitation, he proceeded to give his information as follows. Bob Hilton had been for some time a miner in this camp, and when his operations on a prospect hole had been stopped by an excess of snow, he concluded to return to his native state to spend the winter. He was there when Jesse James was murdered and was acquainted with the assassins not only in Missouri but in Leadville, where both the murderers and Jesse James had engaged in mining. In the year 1879, he was working in California Gulch on a claim and coming into the city one night for a little relaxation. He happened to venture into a house on Chestnut Street that was at that time conducted by the Hall brothers. While he was seated at a beer table in the establishment, he suddenly caught sight of a countenance that was familiar to him, and after studying it for a moment, he realized it was Bob Ford. Hilton met James frequently, and, like others who were convinced that James had been driven into the strait, he kept mum, and no reference was made to his presence in the vicinity. Bob Ford said Hilton was in his camp and intended to take the life of Jesse James. Ford disguised himself and was face to face with him upon several occasions while his hand clutched the revolver. He never dared to fool and shoot, for he knew there were too many Missouri boys who wanted a fair deal and who, if they did not get it, would reproduce the bloody days of Clay County. Jesse James left his property and went to South Arkansas, where he remained for several days, and where he received quite a sum of money from Mrs. Samuels, his mother. Immediately after this, Bob Ford left the city, and Hilton saw no more of him until he was arrested for the murder of James. He was a good boy and never had harmed a hair on a friend's head. Jesse wanted to go home and abide by the regulations of society and morality, but it was impossible. He was always gloomy, and at times he sat down in the tunnel and cried as if he were behind prison bars.